Welcome to our channel Whispers in the Dark, where we bring you true, terrifying and chilling stories across the world. What if I told you that there's a room where no one survives? That, behind its door, lurks something ancient, something unspeakable. Imagine waking to something watching you, something that shouldn't exist in this world. Do you dare to step into a room that rewrites the very fabric of reality? Welcome to Room 42. Tonight, on episode 2 of our Not So Scary series, we have The Haunting of Room 42, Why No One Survives the Night Here. Imagine booking a hotel room. On reaching there you find that it has a chilling history. By now, you've heard the whispers from the locals. Guests who stay in room 42 either leave in a rush, or don't leave at all. You are now wondering, what really happens there? Why do people check in being full of life, and what's left behind of them is something broken? What would you do? Given a chance, would you stay the night here? It's just a hotel room, right? Four walls, a bed, a television, nothing out of the ordinary. Or so you think. The staff at the hotel, they know better. Room 42 has a reputation. Stories of strange noises, shifting shadows, and guests waking up to find they aren't alone. It's the kind of room that stays empty, even when the hotel is fully booked. They say, the air in room 42 feels different. It's heavy, thick with something unnatural. But what is it that makes this room so dangerous? Is it just a story? Or is there something sinister that lurks behind that door? Let's find out. The first reported incident happened nearly 50 years ago. A businessman, traveling alone, checked into room 42 late at night. Exhausted from his journey, he decided to go straight to bed. But as he lay there, drifting off, he heard something strange and unusual. A soft knock, coming from the closet. At first, he brushed it off, thinking that it's just his imagination. But then, the knocking became profound, and continued to grow even louder. He tried to ignore it, pulling the covers over his head. Suddenly, the knocking stops. He then sticks his head out of the covers and looked up. What he sees next blows his mind. It was a figure, standing tall, just at the foot of his bed. The shape was too dark to make out, but it was there, watching. He then ran out of the room, in horror, panting, and never stayed the night. In fact, he never stayed at the hotel again. But what exactly did he see? Could it have been just a dream? Or was it something much worse? This wasn't an isolated incident. Over the years, room 42 became infamous. More guests reported the same experiences. Strange knocking, cold spots in the room, and the feeling that something, or someone was watching them. Soon, the pattern became more disturbing. Room 42 wasn't just haunted. It was watching, and waiting. One couple even claimed that they woke up to find the room's furniture had been rearranged overnight. The television turned itself on at exactly 3 a.m., showing nothing but static. Every guest who experienced something in room 42 told the same story and described the exact same figure. They were always alone, but they never felt alone. But the most terrifying part is that there's no record of anyone ever dying in the room. But what if the figure wasn't the worst part? The most disturbing case came years later. A woman traveling for business checked into room 42, completely unaware of its dark past. She fell asleep easily that night, but around 2 a.m., she woke up to a sensation that made her heart race. She couldn't move. Her body was frozen, but her mind was racing. She thought she might perhaps be experiencing sleep paralysis. But this wasn't like any sleep paralysis that she had ever experienced. At the foot of her bed, she could feel a presence, cold and heavy. Slowly, the pressure moved closer. Something had climbed onto the bed, and then, she felt the weight shift on the bed, creeping closer. Her breath had caught up, her heart was hammering in her chest. The room grew colder, making her body rigid in place. She tried to scream, but nothing came out. Slowly, she heard it, a faint breath by her ear. Each second now is feeling like an eternity for her. By now, it had come so close that she could feel the warmth of its breath on her face. Cold air brushed her skin. Her heart was pounding in her ears. The terror was now suffocating her. Then, the unthinkable happens. It whispers her name. But how did it know her name? What did it want from her? What would you do if you heard the knock? Could you go back to sleep, knowing something might crawl closer and whisper your name? Then, the woman fled the room, terrified. She didn't stay to find out what was next. She never even went back for her belongings. But here's where things get strange. When the hotel staff went to check on room 42, the next day, everything was in perfect order. The bed was made. The room was absolutely spotless. What's even more bizarre is that she was found weeks later, lurking near the hotel, by one of the hotel staff, who identified her as the survivor of the horror of room 42. According to him, she looked completely different. Her eyes was unseeing. Her voice was no longer her own. She spoke only in riddles, repeating this one line: "It never leaves you. It never leaves you." What happened that night? Why did so many guests experience the same thing, but no one could ever prove it? Could it be the power of the haunting? Or is room 42 hiding something darker? Have you ever felt like something is breathing near you, yet nothing's there? The hotel, till date, has never officially acknowledged any rumors about room 42. But locals know the truth. They tell you about a man who stayed in room 42 years ago. A man who checked in, but never checked out. Some say he met a tragic end, and hence his spirit is now trapped in the room, desperate for company. Others believe it was not a man at all. What's worse is that guests who manage to leave room 42 alive often disappear weeks later, without a trace, which makes you wonder, is it the room, or the guests themselves who are haunted? To top it all up, here's something that no one till date has been able to explain. The hotel staff doesn't remember the names of anyone who checked into room 42. Their records simply vanish. Even photos disappear. It's as if the room swallows, not just their sanity, but their very existence. In all, room 42 is a portal, a gateway to something much darker, something that feeds on fear. What would you do if you found yourself in room 42? Would you stay the night? Would you be able to ignore the strange sounds, the cold spots, the sense that something unseen is watching you, knowing that it might never let you go? Or would you, like so many others, flee in the middle of the night? Some say that the room chooses its victims, that it only haunts those who are already vulnerable to fear. But what if it's more than that? What if the room isn't haunted by a ghost, but by something else? So, I urge you to think again and let me know in the comments below if you have ever felt that something was watching you, but when you looked, nothing was there. The next time you check into a hotel, remember this story. Look closely at the door number and ask yourself, are you truly alone? You never know what secrets lie behind that door. What if the room you checked in was renumbered, and your room, actually, is the room 42? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more spine-chilling stories, and hit the notification bell, if you dare.